I am over 1,500 days sober, which is 4 years and 2 months. But this is what nobody told me when you quit drinking. Are you ready for this? You're going to lose all your friends. But we need to ask ourselves, is this necessarily a bad thing? And I'm gonna let you come to your own conclusion about this towards the end of the video. Before you continue listening to the end of the video, I just want to put out a disclaimer for you. Now, this video is for highly ambitious people who want to level up in life. If that's not you, click off now because you just won't understand what I'm about to say. If you've clicked on this video, there's a high probability that you've come to your own conclusion that you need to stop drinking or taking drugs. If you're anything like me, you've probably worked out by now that drinking is actually taken away from you, not giving you anything. And if you don't stop now, when will you ever? Now, like most people, I knew if I continued on this road of self-sabotaging, drinking and taking drugs, eventually my life would lead to nowhere. Now, when I turned 30, a switch flicked off in my head. I looked at my life and I thought about my younger self and where I thought I would be when I was 30, and I was not anywhere near that. I was not reaching my full potential, and I had to ask myself serious questions why. When I took a look into my life and why I wasn't where I wanted to be, the most obvious thing which cropped up was me going out, drinking, sometimes taking drugs, taking halfway through the week to recover, and then repeating the vicious cycle all over again. It's a story all too familiar. As a side note, I want to say, for myself personally, I am not an addict. I don't believe in calling yourself an addict. I don't like saying I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict. I think it's a choice. And when we say it's a choice, we give ourselves the own power to stop. When we give it to a term like addiction, we are basically saying it's out of our control and we can't stop. I'm not an addict. The chances are you're not an addict and you have it within you to stop. But that's a topic for another video. Anyway, continuing back to the story. So this is what nobody told me about when you go sober. So 4 years ago, well, just over 4 years ago actually, I decided to give up alcohol because it was leading me to take drugs, it was leading me to smoke, and it was just basically destroying any little bit of consistency that I had in life. So I just knocked it on the head. Now, if you listen to my other videos, you will know that I had one proper attempt before this 4-year stint. That was 10 weeks. That 10 weeks basically showed me how good my life would be. And I'm quite thankful for this fuck up because I went out after 10 weeks for one beer. Again, I won't go too deep into this because this can be a topic for another video, but I basically fell to my usual habits. Went out for one beer, it turned into multiple, it turned into bags, and as a result, I was not even hungover the next day. I was actually still awake, sitting on a balcony, away from my home, couldn't get home, and it just made me think to myself, this is why you actually gave up in the beginning. So shortly after my cutoff point, I came to this realization that I was not getting as many invites from people who had previously asked me to go out. I found myself sometimes, well not sometimes, a lot of the times in on my own on the weekend, and when I did go out with these people, I felt like there was like no connection, like I couldn't really fully get into the night, I couldn't get into the conversation, and I just felt like there was this distance between me and them. Previously, you would go out and you would maybe feel a bit awkward in front of new people that you hadn't met. You'd all start drinking and then you all start mingling. But there's repercussions to that, right? The next day you're hungover or you find yourself in a kitchen and you've just completely ruined the weekend. I do feel like people look at you when you stop drinking and they see a reflection of what they should be doing. Now, this isn't for everybody. Some people can go out and have a few drinks and they don't sabotage their life. For me, it's different. Probably for you, it's different. That's why you're watching the video. but people will look at you and they will see a reflection of what they should be doing, and they just don't have the know-how, or I don't like to say willpower, but maybe in their case willpower. They don't have the strength to stop because it takes a lot of courage. When I would go out to pubs and bars, I don't go to clubs because I don't really enjoy going to clubs, and especially if I'm not drinking or taking drugs, that is an environment that I don't want to have to be in. But I'll take you to this one story. So I went out to this bar, pub sort of thing, and there was about 10 of us. Some are my friends, some are like associates. So as you can know, that's a perfect time to like have a drink and start mingling and getting to know people. But everything was going great, and it got to about 10 o'clock at night, and then everything just sort of went downhill for the people around me. I remember having a chat with this guy. He was like sort of mid-conversation, and I was trying to understand what he was trying to say to me, and then all of a sudden he just kind of stopped and just forgot he was in the conversation and just went into a trance. And it was at that point that I realized that nothing good happens after a certain time of night. You get to a certain point, everyone's just chatting rubbish, and it's just not enjoyable. Now, the reason that you clicked on this video, let's just say you are somebody who goes out on the weekend, you take alcohol, you take drugs, and you know it's holding back, and you want to stop. If you stop participating in this behavior, do you think your friends are going to be supportive and happy about you stopping this? Or do you think there's going to be some sort of resistance to pull you back to the person they know you as? Now, I'm not going to answer that question for you. That's something you can answer yourself. But if you do come to the conclusion that your friends, I'm not saying they don't want the best for you, but if they don't want you to get better than them and rise above them, you need to ask yourself a serious question. When you do participate in this journey of going sober, is losing some of those friends necessarily a bad thing? For me, it wasn't. I love all my friends. I know deep down they want the best for me, but sometimes people, they don't like to see you getting out of that destructive habit and doing well for yourself, because it shines a mirror on them and it basically says to them that they could be doing this, but they can't because they don't want to do the work. Now, the conclusion I came to is I don't want to look at stopping drinking drugs as a negative, because when we actually look at drinking drugs, it is self-sabotage. It's taken away from you. Me giving up is not losing anything. I'm actually gaining my life force, my energy, my motivation. I'm gaining more hours in the day. I'm getting healthier. I always look good. I'm not aging as much. So I see it as something as I'm not losing. So I came to my own conclusion that yes, I may not get as many invites as I usually would, but this is a positive, and I'm gonna explain why. When we're going out every single weekend and we're getting smashed, and then we're spending the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever, recovering, we basically don't have time to focus on things that we need to fix, or a business we need to build, or anything that you may be working on. So it actually allows you this space, this free time with more energy to actually focus on the things in life you want to pursue. So for me, having less invites at the start was a bit like, oh, you know, like people don't like me anymore. They see me as different. But in truth and reality, it's basically given me all this free time and energy to really pursue what I want to do. Now, there's this saying, and it goes like this: it's messy at the start, difficult in the middle, but beautiful at the end. And when you go through your own journey of sobriety, this is what you'll find out. Sometimes you have to sacrifice your old life for your new life. And the reason I can resonate with this is because I went through a little bit of a lonely chapter at the beginning, so it was difficult. But this may not be the case for you. The reason it was the case for me is because I moved from the United Kingdom to Australia, and at the time I'd only been here for just under a year, so I didn't have any family here and I didn't have that many friends here. And the friends that I did have are the ones I met doing the same destructive habits as what I used to do back home. So if you can imagine, I came out here and I didn't actually have this mindset that I do now. So the friends that I had were people who like to go out, drink, take drugs and party. So for you it may be different. For me it was a little bit of a lonely chapter, so it was difficult at the end. The reason it is messy in the middle is because you've got all this free time, you're completely conscious, you're completely aware of your life and what's going on, and then you're like basically like highlighting all these problems in your life that you haven't been addressing previously. So it is difficult because you've got to fix them all. Now, I'm not at the end yet, but I can tell you, it will be beautiful. It is getting better. And as I said, 4 years and 2 months, and I've never looked back. But the journey is always easier when you've got someone to understand you. So if you've got someone to hold you accountable, it is a much easier process. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you can like, comment, subscribe, and if you do know someone who is struggling, you can share to them also. And you can see a link in the description. If you want to book a one-on-one call with me, 15 minutes for free to see if I can help you get where you are now to where you need to be, please click the link below and I'll see you soon.